You know those people when you first meet them, you walk up, you shake their hand, you get introduced, and you like them immediately? Well, that's how I feel about my next guest, and we have a great conversation, and his story, I've known this guy for a while and really loved his story, and I know you will too. But before we get into that, we got a couple things to announce. Of course, our supporter, Live Rishi at liverishi.com, where they use all natural and organic ingredients to relax, relieve, and rejuvenate the mind, body, and spirit. Been using these guys for a while. What I use is the tincture oil, and me personally, I believe what will cure a lot of things that ail you is a good night's sleep. And I thought I slept good before, but when I tried this stuff, next level. Jump over liverishi.com, use the code word table, and be pleasantly surprised by the hookup give you to show you our love of you supporting the show, and of course, Live Rishi. Another big announcement. The table is now on the tube. Yep, Walt's Kitchen Table is on YouTube. Jump over there, key it in, and under my smiling face, you're going to see in big, bold letters the word subscribe. Click on that. Appreciate it. And a lot easier to listen to it, give you more options. Now, on to the show. Welcome to Walt's Kitchen Table, where I feature captivating stories from fascinating people. Quite a few years ago, I met Clayton, and the best way I can describe this guy is the phrase that I say sometimes: don't act cool, be cool. Now this dude's cool. Truly enjoys company. And a couple things we talk about, of course, punk rock, him sleeping in his car, the Waffle House Natural Disaster Index, very interesting. Appointment TV phrase, that type of TV I assume is dying. Corny pickup lines. Crazy other things. Oh, one thing I did like, sprint car racing on Friday night. So let's get to it.
Hey, we are playing jazz on jazz. George Parks and Rec.
And for your ride home today, we have nice, smooth jazz. Because today for the ride home, we have nice, smooth jazz to help you get through the 405 traffic. Right?
Right. Do you watch Parks and Rec?
Oh, fuck. God, my wife loves that fucking show. I don't know. I can't say I can't stand it. I'm not a fan of it.
No,
the old dude there, what's his name? Burgundy? No.
Oh, Ron Swanson. Yeah.
No, I'm a fan of that dude.
Yeah. Somehow I knew that would be the case.
Yeah, right.
For sure. No, but they do a joke about public radio, and they have their jazz on jazz series where they play one jazz record on top of another jazz record to make a third jazz song.
Jazz on jazz. Well, thanks for coming down, dude.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me.
How was that fucking picture, man? You got to explain that. How long ago was that?
So that was senior year of college. So let's see. That's a little over 5 years, about 5 years ago.
Okay.
So 2014 for that.
And I met you.
You met me probably 2016.
So I don't think I met you before I met Eric. I think I met Eric first, right?
Yeah, you met Eric first, and then I think I met you through the poker.
For the
through the events through the stuff that Eric put together because he came to one of your games, and then he started hosting one.
Right, and then I met you there.
Yeah.
When
I was
did
dealing
you start
there.
Over there?
Started Fat Rabbit. Yeah. I started there 2014, so June of 2014.
Okay.
So I graduated in May 2014.
Where'd you graduate from?
Susquehanna University. So out there, middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's like
what brought you there?
Well, it's right across the river from where I grew up.
Oh, okay.
So
you throw a rock over there.
Pretty much, yeah. You could hear the racetrack. There's a sprint car track across the river. So
and banjo music.
No, not so much banjo music. That was further south.
Oh, okay.
But
a mile down the road.
Yeah, 2 or 3 miles down the road there.
Awesome.
No, but the sprint car track you could hear every Friday and Saturday evening. That's the noise. But it was so funny. It's the first because I grew up in the area. So I expected that. I knew that was going to be the case, and it's going to be extra loud because you're on the same side as the river. The
Right.
sprint track's a couple miles from the school. But the people who weren't from the area, the first Friday night that it happens,
"What
they're
the
like,
fuck is
what
that?"
is that noise? What is going on? What the hell? And you're like, yeah, it's the race car track. And then it's the same thing. Oh, can we go? It's like,
Oh, well,
geez.
yeah. I mean,
Sure, right down the road, go for it. Not
yeah,
for me,
yeah,
but
yeah. I'll meet you back here.
yeah, it's like I've been there several
What'd you go
times.
to college for?
Graphic design.
Graphic design.
So yeah, so I went to school for graphic design. I knew what I wanted to do, knew where I wanted to be. That Susquehanna has an amazing program. The professors there are phenomenal. Just really know what they're doing. You know, it's not, oh, let's make a pretty picture. It's, this is how
Functional.
you're going to, right. It's like, this is how the real world works. You're going to learn how to do it. This is how. And I mean, they've given, everyone that, that I graduated with had jobs within like 6 months and just like
Nice.
grinding it out. Just like, yep. No, you're good. We got jobs here, all over the place. I mean, there's people up and down the Eastern Seaboard, out west, stuff like that, like famous magazines, cool stuff
Right.
like that. So,
Now, is that how you got over to work with Eric?
yes,
How
I
did
mean,
that happen? Through the college or no?
no. So,
Okay.
so the way I ended up working with Eric and with was I just ended up going to, buzzing around on the job sites, checking stuff out. So everything from Indeed, like all those, and then Craigslist.
Oh.
And so, Craigslist is
So
like,
were you
who
looking for a
knows?
mattress at the same time? Or what?
No, I was just like, I'm fresh out of college. I'm like, I have this degree and I know it's a good degree and I know I'm good at what I do, but I'm just looking for stuff, right? And I'm seeing the
Right.
same stuff because I've been doing it for several days. I'm looking at the same stuff over and over. Like, okay, I'm gonna try Craigslist. Like, who knows? Maybe there'll be a diamond in this coal heap, right? I'm like, these all look really shady. And then there was one well written. Was full sentences. It wasn't need designer
Punctuation was
now.
there.
Was punctuation. There were paragraph breaks. And I was like, okay, this is legit. And
That's
it was
awesome.
nearby. At the time I was living with Michelle's family.
Okay.
We had graduated, moved there.
Oh, how long now that's your
It's my wife.
wife
yeah.
now?
Yep.
Right. So how long were you? When did you guys meet?
So we met the third day of college. So August 31.
Oh, with your hair like that? She was all about it?
So that was before that hair.
Whoa.
That was before that hair.
And she's still with you.
And she's
Good for her.
she encouraged that hair.
Oh, did she
She
really?
encouraged that
There's
hair.
a story behind that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we met the third day of school. I was wearing a T-shirt of a band, and she was like, "Oh, that's an interesting shirt." And then come to find out later, she really didn't like that band, but she just wanted something to talk about. So that was nice. It worked out. Worked out pretty well.
I back in my single days, I'd go to Vegas with some friends and shit, all the time. And I had a shirt that said "For Rent."
Oh no!
Every time. So you're for rent? Yeah, no, I don't want anything long term. So
By the hour, right?
yeah, well, that's not a good night. But that's a whole other conversation. So all right, off the subject.
Yeah.
Quick story on that. I got put. So I like playing cards, and we were out there at Vegas, and we did a last longer competition.
Okay.
So we're and me and the boys, and it was at the Rio, and I lasted longer on that one. I fucking God knows how long or how I did that, but so I come out of the poker room, and they're all hanging out at the bar, like in the middle of the casino, and we're all just tore up at this point. And this lady approached us, to hang out. And of course, you get approached like that in Vegas.
Yeah,
She's a professional.
Yeah.
Right. So, long story short, she's like $500. I'm like, $500? Man, I didn't bring $500 with me. And the guys, you know how guys are. Keep going,
Yeah.
And so what it came down to was I look at her, I said, listen, how long I'm going to last, if you do it by an hourly rate, if I give you $25, you're making mega bucks because you're looking at minute and a half easy. I said, I won't even get rid of the easy one first, so it's quick. She goes, $25? What do you think I am? And I hold my arms out and I go, you're a whore. Whoosh, fucking
Slap.
zip cuffs. No, zip cuffs.
Oh.
Fucking security throw me in zip cuffs and off I went. But yeah, that's where for rent shirt gets you
Yeah, yeah.
because I had that on at the time. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
Icebreaker.
that's like a nice billboard.
Yeah, right. Yeah, come fuck with me.
Yeah, right.
That's about what it is.
Yeah.
So band, what band?
So is Asking Alexandria? It's not a band that I'm. Yeah, it's not nothing that I'm actually interested in anymore. It was one of those like they're I don't even know what the genre is anymore, but they have a lot of heavy screaming stuff like that. But
Okay.
sure, it was cool. It was like zombies and stuff. But
Yeah.
but so Michelle came up and started talking to me, and we started talking, and we were dating basically since that day, and then got married senior year on the spring break, first day of spring break.
Damn. You
So-
elope or did you have something going on?
No, we did a DIY thing. So we knew, so the whole plan was like, listen, we know we're going to get married. Why wait until we're job hunting, house hunting, all the things that are getting in the way, all of life that's going to get in the way of planning a wedding and all that when we're at school? All we have to worry about is school. And then it's like, then there's no paperwork to deal with. It's like, I start a job, I'm already married. So all the paperwork stays the same, less hassle.
Yeah, no,
You know
I
what
can
I mean?
see your point. Just,
It was like, yep, this works. And so we got married the Monday of spring break of senior year. We did a DIY thing. Basically, we put it together. We had the chaplain from the university agree to do it with us, and he let us write our own vows. And then we used the common room of the dorm, our freshman dorm, on the spot where we met. So
cake stands too.
no keg stands. No, actually, neither at the time, neither my wife or I drank, so we were.
Whoa,
yeah,
that's cool though.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So-
I had Denver.
How old were you guys?
I was probably 21 or 22. 22, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm
And
trying to
she's
remember how old
from
I am
where?
now. She's from Long Valley, so she's from here, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's
Okay,
she's from New Jersey. Came out there for the creative writing program.
cool. Oh, okay.
So the Susquehanna has an amazing creative writing program, like world renowned. They have international students that come for the program.
Wow, nice.
So yeah, some really popular people have come out of there, and so she came for that, and then found editing and publishing and did her thing there. So good stuff there.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then, so that was senior year you got married?
Yeah. So senior year we got married. We did a the little DIY thing, and then we went down to DC for a honeymoon. Came back and got back to finishing up the final.
So you went down
semester.
to your honeymoon on spring break?
Yep.
And
Yeah,
went
spring
down?
break for the
Nice,
honeymoon.
nice.
Yeah. That was the year that there was like the snowstorm, and it was like it was a Monday snowstorm, and it's like driving down to DC, and it's like up in in PA and New Jersey, people know how to drive in the snow. It's not so
Yeah,
bad.
wow, yeah.
And then you get down to DC, and there's like 2 inches of snow, and people are crawling. I'm like, oh come on, this
Oh,
is
yeah,
this is
absolutely.
terrible. No one on the streets, and it's like it's 7 p.m. and it's like
this
there's
is
2 inches
easy.
of snow. Just it's not that bad. Come on.
And then how the hell did you end up in Lyndhurst, New Jersey?
Well, so again, that's we moved out. We were living at Michelle's parents, and I was working at Fat Rabbit, and then we moved to we were looking for a place. So she works in Hoboken. At the time, she was working with another company also in Hoboken, and they had they were based out of Upper Saddle River at the time, like way up upstate New Jersey, right by the New York border. And we were like, well, we need to be somewhere that's accessible to that now, but in a couple months, accessible to Hoboken. So we were looking around. We ended up renting in Garfield for a time, right by the train.
Yeah.
And then, we were looking around, and we knew we wanted to stay that direction. We wanted to stay east, really close to the city. I like to go to shows. I go to a bunch of
Like concerts,
yeah,
rock and
bunch
roll
of bunch of
shows.
concerts.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Just the convenience of being able to go into the city. I mean, for me, it's like I hop a train, and within a half an hour, I'm in the city.
Yeah, no,
So-
that's what's so nice around here. Man.
Yeah, it's just
crazy.
there's one transfer at Secaucus, and I'm in the city. So it's like that's a no-brainer.
And
It's
with us here in Montclair, straight into the city,
yeah,
no transfer.
that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, and for Michelle, it's like she takes it takes a 20-minute train ride into work, and she's there.
From Lyndhurst,
Yeah,
There's
down to Hoboken. Yeah.
there's a train station in Lyndhurst.
Oh yeah. There's
I
actually
didn't know
two.
that. What?
Yeah, we
Whoa,
have
you're
2
big
train
time.
stations. We're big,
Big
time.
time.
Yeah.
Actually, Lyndhurst is a lot bigger than I thought it was. I don't know the geographical layout, but is it long and skinny?
Yeah, it like runs along the river, so it's long
Okay.
and skinny. Yeah,
That's
it kind
why
of
it
runs
seems so big, right?
Yeah, it seems, and I think it feels a little small because you're like stuck between Rutherford and like Newark, but
Right.
and you've got like North Arlington there, and that's about it. But it's a fair
Well,
size.
North
but-
Arlington's Lyndhurst.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
yeah.
the same thing.
It's all the same thing.
So then, Fat Rabbit. I mean, people listening might not know, but you
Yeah.
know what happened to Eric. That was fucking
Yeah,
crazy,
it was-
tragic. Right?
Yeah, it was
He was super young.
yeah, young and just I mean, it was one of those things where you just like you wake up and you're like, what are we gonna do?
What-
What the hell are we gonna
happened?
do?
Yeah.
Like
So-
what happened and yeah.
Yeah, he passed away suddenly, brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
wanted to make that people listening. They're like, "Well,
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah,
Holy shit,
yeah.
what happened?"
Yeah,
And he owned it. You know, he owned a successful
Yeah.
web design company,
Yeah. Small,
Okay.
successful creative studio.
creative studio.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I want
but-
to make sure that's right. And then I met him. God, can't remember who introduced us. But I sat down with him, and the first thing we started talking about was guns, and then we started talking about poker. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm good with either one.
That's
And
that's
then
funny.
and then he's like, I always wanted to have a poker night here, and I'm like, well, let's set it up.
Yeah.
And then we went from my studio to his studio to back and forth for a while there. And
Right.
that's where we met.
Yeah, we met because he came in. I remember he came in the one day. He was like, "Does anyone know how to play poker?" And I was like, tentatively like raised my hand. I'm like, "What game?" Like I know Texas Hold'em. I know like 7 card. I know
Right.
I know some games. What do you need? And he's like, "Oh, I'm thinking about starting a poker night. You know, I need someone who can deal." I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, I can do
Oh,
that."
that's right. I forgot
And so
about that.
so I
Holy
started
shit.
as dealer. And
Yeah.
I would deal the first game, and then
Play the
whoever won would buy me in for the second game, and just be like, "Hey, you know, here, play with us."
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you know, that's when I started
Oh,
playing
I
more.
totally forgot about that. That you were
Yeah.
just dealing for a
Yeah,
while.
and I was like, "Who are all these people?" And because at the time I had
Yeah.
you know, I was
Well, the idea behind
year
that
and a
was
half
too
in.
was a networking event.
Exactly,
You know, after
yeah.
hours and like owners and like decision makers and stuff, because you know you act a certain way when it's just an owner or decision maker.
Right.
You know, you stick an employee in there, it changes the dynamic.
exactly, yeah,
Right. So I remember talking with Eric saying, "No, let's keep it at a certain level of people."
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was, yeah, it's
And then, well, that happened.
yeah,
And I know Heather tried to keep it going for a bit, then she just stopped that, right?
yeah, because she doesn't play, so she's it's kind of like she feels a little awkward about having it, and people expect her to be there, and she's not.
Right.
So
And
I
then there was that
totally
vacuum,
understand that.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's that vacuum when he was gone.
Right.
That was some crazy times for
Those
you
were
guys, huh?
some crazy times. Like I was saying, it was like you're like, what do I do? You know, the prime business development person, the owner, the creative director, the guy who everything in the business ran through, it's not there anymore.
Yeah. And now, like, he's like, in 6 months I'm leaving. It wasn't like that.
Right.
It was,
Oh yeah.
boom,
No, it
gone.
was right, and it was just it wasn't a planned transition. There wasn't any of that. It was just all of a sudden Sunday morning. There's a text message that says "Call me" from our office manager, and then she's like, "Eric's in the hospital," and it's like, whoa. So Monday morning we went in. We didn't know what was going to happen. So at that
Right,
point
right.
he was in the hospital,
Right.
and we were like, we don't know what's going to happen. But thankfully we had a good group of advisors that had been working with Eric for a while.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, he had plans that were like, here's if he's incapacitated for 90 days, for 3 months, for 6
He had
months, a
all
year.
that set up?
Dude, he had plans set up. He had
Oh, good for him,
a file
man.
on his folder that was just in case, and it was all the passwords, like notes on how for Heather, like to run things, like
Holy
if
cow.
like
Good
like
thinking on his part,
paying
huh?
bills, paying the mortgage, stuff like that. All just notes on how to do it on his computer, just in case.
That was the file name?
That was the file name.
Oh,
it's like, what do you
wow.
like? Who does that? No
Yeah,
one
right?
does that.
It's like, shit, that shit ain't going to happen to me. I got time.
Yeah.
That's most people's attitude.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But then, Heather took the reins and just,
Yeah.
now you're back at it.
Yeah. She took the reins, and she was learning from day one. I mean, she came in with that attitude of this is what I do now. I'm going to learn it,
Cool.
and she took it on, and here we are, almost 4 years later.
No shit.
My math is right. 2016 to 2019. No, 3 years. 3 years.
Well, it'd have to be.
Math is hard.
Was I with? Yeah, I must have been.
Yeah.
I was with Val at that time, right? Have to be 3 years. We've been together.
Yeah, it
longer
was
than 3 years.
October 2016. So
It's just weird how that doesn't compute with
Yeah.
the timeline.
yeah, it's like you just different aspects of life don't seem
Yeah,
to line
yeah.
up right. But yeah, that was like right before I moved too, because I moved December of.
Because you bought a house.
Well, so we had bought, or we had rented for a while.
Right.
We rented for a while, and then we bought the house May of 2018.
And where you are now.
Yeah, Lyndhurst, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy time, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
Man,
it was.
I'm having a hard time coming back from that one.
Yeah, no,
'cause my mind's racing of all the shit that happened and
Yeah, I mean, it was just, it was.
how the community came together. And
It was crazy. You put together that poker night, and you put together the poker night,
that's
the,
right.
the
To
memorial.
raise some money.
Yeah, to
for
raise the money for the fund.
Because they were big with adoption.
Yeah,
Because
they were
all his
huge
kids
with
are
the adoption.
adopted, right?
Correct. Yeah, all three of them. Yeah, from various countries around the
Yeah,
world.
yeah. I remember he was all into that. That
Yeah.
was cool.
Yeah, he and Heather were both really. They're still are huge advocates for adoption.
Adoption, yeah. And then, because I know how much you like playing cards, but
Yeah, yeah, and that was a great event. I mean, we
yeah,
had
that was a lot of fun.
put
What
that
was it?
together, and
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, God, that was like 7 or 8 tables.
yeah, it was huge.
It was a lot of shit
That was a
going on
lot of
there.
people.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It
We
was,
filled
it was
that
a good time.
studio.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Cards are always a good
Yeah.
way to raise money
Oh yeah.
because there's nothing physical about it.
That's you bring in a lot of people who even if they don't play,
They still
it's
like
like,
to-
oh, it's it's for a good
this,
cause.
and
I'll do
here's
it.
$50.
Right.
But if you do like a 5K or some kind of physical event, you're not going to get a lot
yeah,
of
you're
people.
pushing people
as
out.
as many people. It's kind of like an equalizer, But so that's when you started playing cards?
I mean, I played like my parents played like just for fun. Like we would play, when the power goes out or whatever, we'd grab the change jar and we'd do like
Sure.
nickel dime stuff. My aunt, one of my aunts is she plays pretty regularly. And she does like the local, like kind of like the tavern poker kind of stuff, like the bar scene
Kinda
kind
like
of
where we were
pokers.
the other night?
Yeah, like where we were.
Okay.
Yep, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so she played. So I've been around it,
Right,
but it was
right,
never something I
right.
really like dove into.
Now, do you really enjoy playing, or is it just something that? you're
No, I
like,
really enjoy it.
Do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a different side of strategy. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of what I do for work is strategy based, but
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a
but
different
this is
kind of
vindictive
strategy.
strategy.
This is
I want your fucking money.
Yeah, and it's like it's psychological. It's where am I looking? What does the other person have? What might they have? What are they trying to make me think they have? All that psychological
Yeah, yeah.
piece and the strategy of.
You're still trying to figure me out, huh?
Oh, I am still trying to figure out. You play ridiculous
You'll never
stuff.
You'll
No,
never fucking
because
figure me
every
out.
time I think I have you nailed, it's like, where did that come from?
Oh, that was so much. What was it? Last week, did you put me on? When I called you, what'd you put me on?
Well, as soon as you snap called me, I was like, oh, he has a 4. You're playing
On the-
something crazy on the when you had trip 4s
Right.
on that
But pre-flop, what did you think I had?
pre-flop. I thought you had some 10s or higher, something higher than a 10. A high end range kind of
Yeah.
area. But but with you,
I
it's
had
like
you beat the whole way though.
You
'cause
did.
You had
It-
ace jack, and I
Well,
would
as soon
beat
as
you
that-
even without the trips.
as soon as the flop came out, I was like, oh, okay, well that's a good one for me, and I'm just trying to keep my my C bet going. Just like yeah.
Yeah.
And then you shove. I'm like, oh, you okay? I'm like, oh no, because at
You
that
got a
point I was
4.
like,
Shit, he's got 3 of
yeah,
them.
yeah. I was like, oh man.
Well, when before the pre-flop, I was like, of course I'm calling you. I got a pocket pair, and I was like, God, do 4. Put a 4 and an ace down. Put a 4 and an ace down. Put a 4 and an ace down. Because if 4 ace junk brick came down, I figured you had an ace of some kind.
Right.
I put you on ace jack. I can't even remember what you had.
Something like that.
Something
Ace
like-
Jack,
yeah.
Ace 10, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I was like, he's got ace jack, or that's the top end of it. And I was like, man, come on, put a fucking 4 and an ace down. I just milk him the whole way.
I didn't have much to milk at that
It was
point.
close. It was close though.
It was, but I didn't have much to milk at that point.
Yeah.
I was,
What'd you think of that game?
it was a good game. It was
Yeah, they're a good group of people.
Yeah, it was friendly. It was, it wasn't crazy.
Yeah. And there's the one dude there. He gets a little.
Oh yeah.
Every game has a variance. You gotta look out for that. But
Yeah.
But so I want to know about the punk years, dude.
Yeah,
You touched
punk
on it the
years.
other
Yeah.
years, but I wanted to something about sleeping in a car.
Yeah. So I mean, well,
How far you wanna
that
go
was
back?
even pre-college.
Yeah,
So yeah. So I mean, so basically, it started in probably 2001. So I was in fourth grade, right? And so it all ties back, right? So it all ties back
going way
to
back.
how we're sleeping in the car, right? So
When,
it
when the
does.
Earth was cooling
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Shit, dude, we're going way back.
I mean, so I was in fourth grade, and so it's crazy. We were on vacation in Disney World, came back, and my dad is like having heart problems. So we went to the hospital in the middle of the night because he was having chest pains, and they're like, nope, it's nothing, probably just heartburn. And so then a couple weeks later, my brother and I vividly remember this. My brother and I are playing downstairs with my mom. We're hitting a hockey puck around, and there's this huge thump upstairs. My mom's like, I'm going to see what that was. You stay here. Went upstairs, and she's up there for a while, and I'm like, what is going on? So being the older brother, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go check this out. So I go upstairs, and she's on the phone with 911, and my dad is on the floor, like, just coming to. And
Shit.
come to find out, they take him to the hospital. Come to find out he had a massive heart attack.
And survived it.
And survived it, yeah.
Oh.
So, like, 97% blockage of the artery.
Whoa.
And so, we're at the hospital going, well, how did you not catch that 2 weeks ago when we were in here and you did all the tests? And he said, no, it's nothing, probably just heartburn. So he had the heart attack. And it was end of August, and I distinctly remember because he was home for 9/11 because he came to pick us up from school that day.
Oh, okay.
Because like we, being out in
kicked out of
Pennsylvania, they didn't kick us out of school because we were in Pennsylvania, so they were like, best place for you to be is in school.
Yeah,
but he came to pick us up instead of the bus bringing us home. He came to pick us up.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I remember that, it was that kind of kicked off a whole range of health problems with, disability, blood clots, stuff like that.
What did he do for a living?
So he was a driver, so driving like delivery stuff. So he did
heavy
auto
gear?
parts, not heavy stuff, more like straight truck and van.
Oh, okay.
So auto parts for a while, like the chemistry that goes in for X-ray machines. So the kind of the film and the chemistry and all that, he would deliver that stuff.
And that wouldn't have anything to do with his heart.
No.
Diet and
no,
lifestyle?
that was 3 packs a day, 30, a bunch of beer and eating Hot Pockets and hot dogs at midnight. Every night.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Two hot dogs and a couple of Hot
30 years.
Pockets for a couple years. Yeah. yeah. Diet, lack of exercise, and the cigarettes and the alcohol really were huge factors.
Well,
in that,
I mean,
so.
that's compounding.
It's just how many factors can you put on it?
Yeah. And Hot Pockets.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, dude. It was a ritual. He wouldn't eat dinner, but midnight, it's like you would wait. If you like woke up at midnight, you'd see him with like 2 Hot Pockets and 2 hot dogs on the couch watching whatever on TV or listening to music on the stereo.
No shit. Just
yeah.
like sitting in a recliner?
Yep,
Like,
just sitting on his chair in the breezeway, eating Hot Pockets, drinking a beer. It's like midnight. And just rocking out, yeah.
But like, what time was dinner normally?
Like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
And he would sit with you, but
he would sit. He would have a little bit, but not much. So
Was he overweight?
no, incredibly thin.
No shit.
Yeah, built like me. Before I started hitting the gym.
I'm glad you clarified.
Yeah, built like me long before then. When I was like 100 something pounds and not where I am now.
No shit. So
Yeah.
I guess that's not an indicator, size and weight.
Yeah, no,
And
and
it's your diet.
I mean, it's
That's
diet.
100% diet on that.
Exactly,
Part. Probably
yeah.
a little genes too, right?
Yeah, I mean I guess
dad
his mom
have
had some heart issues,
Okay.
but in her later years. I don't know about his dad. I think his dad passed away but like when my dad was 12 or like 14, somewhere around there. So really young. And I don't know if I ever got the full story on how he passed away, but
Right.
it's just like
So a lot of that just sounds like diet.
yeah, I mean, it
That's
was
great. You can't pump that
yeah.
shit into you and
I
expect
mean,
to be
diet
anywhere.
and between the diet and the lack of exercise and the just kind of all those the vices, so to speak, that they call them.
Yeah.
That all kind of contributed.
Man, throw some coke and whores in there and shit, he'd have the whole gamut.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the horse, but I mean, he did grow up in the the 70s and 80s. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. At least there's some weed in there, probably.
Yeah,
Easy.
a little more than that too.
Yeah. Acid, mushrooms.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, but with that came the whole host of health issues,
Right, right.
blood clots, all that.
So he stopped working at that point?
Yeah, so he held odd jobs on and off, but the problem was, he'd start working and then all of a sudden, they'd find out, oh, he has blood clot in his leg. So he can't work anymore.
Right,
or
right.
he'd be working somewhere and he would start when they had good times, and then that was right, we're talking pre-2008, but
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking kind of
Leading up to that.
fluctuations leading up to all that.
Right.
He would get laid off from stuff. He worked for a company reading water meters for a little while. He'd drive around in the trucks reading the meters, and then they're like, "Yeah, well, we're not we're not doing that anymore. We have electronic monitoring now."
Yeah, yeah.
So things like that, where just
Right,
kind
sure.
of have an odd job for a couple months and it would drop off. So
And was your mom working at this
yeah,
point?
so my mom's always worked. She works in the nonprofit sector, so she's in HR.
Okay.
But does the nonprofit sector. So right now she works for Head Start.
Okay.
So helping
okay.
kids,
Yep. yep.
But so she was working there the whole time.
She's been there a while. She'd been there a while then.
Yeah, so she was with her prior company for 20 something years, 25, 26 years, and then kind of moved like a lateral move kind of to Head Start, which
Okay.
is kind of administered in part by her prior company or something to that effect. Kind of her old prior company worked with mentally challenged people,
Sure.
and with people with developmental disabilities.
And then she moved over
and then she moved over to Head Start.
Okay,
So
okay, cool.
yeah, so she does a great work with great people.
Yeah, yeah.
And but she was doing that, and it's a nonprofit. It's not the for-profit sector, so it's not you're not making what you would be making at a for-profit
right.
place, right? And so all that stuff combining, it's like I'm seeing as I'm getting older, as time's passing, I'm seeing stuff, right? I'm noticing like we're eating out less, we're doing this less, we're doing that less, kind
No
of
vacations
just,
and
right?
that
No
kind
more
of
family
thing.
vacations, that kind of thing. And as
Right.
a kid, you're not thinking about it, but then slowly you're like, well, what is that? Why is that? And then as I'm starting to realize, I'm like, oh, okay, it's because she has 2 young kids and 1 income and
Yeah,
medical
basically.
bills
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all that other stuff, right?
Yeah, because medical bills on his part.
right, exactly.
Probably with you guys too, growing up, you
Right.
probably had some stuff going on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's so many things compounding. It's kind of like, okay, where's all that happening? So I started working. Like I was like, all right, I've always been kind of a go-getter person. So 14, I was like, all right, what can I do? Like, what job can I get? So I started working on a farm. So I don't know if I ever told you about the farm days,
No.
but yeah, I worked on a
look
pheasant
at
farm.
that. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
touched on that the other
Yeah,
night. I'm like,
yeah.
no, don't talk about it because I want to, like collecting eggs and shit, right?
Yeah. So, I started out, one of my friends worked on the farm, he a little bit older than me. And he was like, hey, we need another guy. You want a job? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, be there after school. So I would either hitch a ride with one of them, or I'd walk down. It was, a mile from the school. I'd get down there, start working, and started with driving a golf cart around, picking up the eggs. That's all it was. Just go in the pens with the pheasants, open their boxes, grab the eggs. Hopefully, don't get attacked by one of the pheasants mad that you're stealing their eggs.
Yeah, sure.
And move on. And then over time, because I was a hard worker, because I kept doing all this stuff, right? They slowly started giving me more and more responsibilities to where I was coming in over the summer. I would come in the mornings. Once I got my license and my own car, I would come in the mornings, 4:00 in the morning, and we'd be going into these huge barns collecting the babies. So when they hatch them, they keep them in these really small kind of warming areas. And then,
So they would hatch in the barn. You'd collect them and put them in the warming area.
so they'd hatch in this in the hatchery, like this separate
Sure,
section,
sure.
right? And then they'd move them out to the warming area.
Oh, okay.
So, and then like it's just these big long barns where they just run free essentially inside this barn. And then what we would do is when they got old enough to go outside, you would go in the barn and you'd have to herd them all into this little cage in order to collect them to bring them outside. 'Cause
Was
you
there
can't
clown
just,
music playing while you're doing this?
No, usually it was like bluegrass. So,
Oh, okay.
quality bluegrass. Yeah. Yeah, no clown music yet, not yet. But you'd go into the barn, and you'd have this little enclosure where you'd get in, and they'd shush, as they called it, because you make a bunch of noise and you wave your arms like a crazy person trying to get the birds to move, and you make them all in this little enclosure, and then you go in there with this box shoved between your legs, and you count 20 birds that you put in this box.
So you're like grabbing them out of the bunch.
Yep.
and
Yeah,
count
you're just
20
grabbing
jam 'em.
handfuls, and you're just grabbing
Now,
handfuls of birds.
are they adult birds at this time?
No,
Or
at this time they're the
ones?
little ones. Yeah, they're
Okay.
like, robin sized, and you're just shoving these fuzzy little robins.
How big's the box?
I don't know, like your average storage box. It's
So was it? Well, I guess what I'm getting to is,
Yeah.
was it tough to get 20 in there, or was it pretty
no,
roomy?
no, they're
for
they're
20?
soft.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, no, it's not a great, looking at it in terms of like, oh, are the birds comfortable? They probably weren't. But at the same time, you're taking them
Is
outside.
it warm in there? Can I
It's-
get you anything to
yeah.
drink?
But you take them outside, and we'd shove them all in the box. You hand the box out the window of the barn to a guy stacking them on the truck, and then once the truck is full, you go get out of the barn. You climb on the back of this truck, and you'd be trying to hold these boxes up because you're going over farm roads. It's bumpy. There's big potholes, and they're washed out. And you're trying to hold these boxes, making sure none fall off as
Is it
you
like
go.
on a flatbed truck?
Yeah, flatbed truck with like
Okay.
the inch wide square piping
Yep.
around the back. So like it's right at shoulder level, so you can just kind of like stand there. And at 4 a.m., on a summer morning, you're standing there almost falling asleep on the truck. Like if I fall asleep, I'm falling off this thing.
Yeah.
Trying to hold these boxes
And you
on.
were up probably late night
Oh, of
before,
course,
'cause-
yeah. 'Cause I'm a kid, I'm
Kid,
staying
yeah,
up
sure.
till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and then getting up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, yeah. So I ran on energy drinks that whole summer, but
Oh,
yeah,
caffeine, baby.
yeah, just load them up.
What was back then?
I mean,
Was Monster around at that point?
Monster was what I was drinking that whole summer was that Sobe Life energy. It was like, I don't know if it's around anymore.
don't think it is,
They made it
'cause
was made by Sobe.
Well, that was a Pepsi product.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I was working at Coca-Cola.
Gotcha.
Sobe was a Pepsi product.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Or distributed by Pepsi. I don't know
Yeah,
if it was-
whatever it
yeah.
was. But we did that. That was what I drank. They had like a tangerine flavor that I would drink all the time. It was like I would roll up in the morning before work to the Citgo or whatever.
Yeah.
Grab a couple and head off to work, and back there in the afternoon after I got off work for another one, because by the time you got off work at 3 or 4 in the
Oh,
afternoon,
you're
you
ready
were
to
dead.
fucking take a nap.
So it's like
Yeah.
I'd grab one of those, go home, eat dinner, sleep, wake up, play video games or whatever all night, and then go back to work.
Ah, nice. So was that almost full time then? How many days a week was
Yeah,
that?
so that was 5. If I was lucky, I would just get away with Monday through Friday. Often it would be 6 because it would be like, oh, we need someone to cover a shift on Saturday. So can you come in and pick eggs Saturday? It's like, well, yeah, I'm not going to say no.
Right.
You know?
So you're what, 15, 16 at this time?
Yeah, so at that point I was probably 15, 16, just about 16.
Working a full-time job.
Yeah, working basically a full-time job, just kind of still doing the whole at-home thing, working, basically trying to build up something of a savings so that like I can buy my own clothes. I can, buy my own stuff for school, my own whatever, just trying to make it easy, right? So that it's not like my mom has to worry about, because my brother is 3 years younger, so he's 12. He's coming into his teenage years. At this point, I'm eating like everything because I'm a teenager. I'm just devouring food.
So like you were buying your own food and...
So I was not at that point. At that point, I was just like my own clothes, just trying to get kind of ease some of the burden. So I would buy my own, like I skateboarded, so I'd buy all my own stuff for skateboarding, my own shoes, my own pants,
you worked
whatever.
for it, right?
Right. So that's where that started.
All right.
And then when I turned 16, I was like, all right, I'm tired of the farm life. It's not for me, even though there's part of me that really loves it. But
were you making pretty good money? What were you making?
I was making pretty much minimum wage. I forget what it was at that point. It was like
$3.45 or something like that.
It was more than that. I want to say maybe $5.25, something like that.
$5.25.
Yeah, it was somewhere around there. Because I remember when I started at my next job, that's like right after they raised the minimum wage. I was like, this is crazy. I'm rolling in money
Look at
now.
how much money I got.
Because I was making $7.25. I was like, whoa. But
get that paycheck and you have $300 and
exactly,
you're like,
yeah. Just enough. But I ended up working at Kmart.
in your like hometown?
Yeah,
close?
nearby my hometown. So I went to the local store. Like that's where we shopped. Like my mom doesn't like Walmart, so we shopped at Kmart. There was no Target at the time. Like that's how
Kmart was big back then too.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
my area, there was no Target. There was none of that stuff until I think the Target came in my senior year of high school or first year of college.
There was a Walmart though?
Yeah, there was a Walmart. Yeah, that was the only thing open past 10 p.m.
Everything shut down at 10
everything
p.m.?
except the Walmart and the Denny's. So when you got kicked out of the Walmart, you went over to Denny's.
got kicked out of there. You went home.
Exactly. Except Denny's wouldn't kick you out.
Oh, that's true.
You just keep buying cups of coffee. They're happy. Cup of
Denny's.
coffee and some fries,
How about
chili
that?
and waffle fries.
No Waffle House?
No, we're not Southern. We're just Pennsylvania. Waffle House is a Southern thing.
Is it a Southern thing?
Yeah, I
it
think
was big
so.
out in Colorado. See, I didn't put that together because it was big out in Colorado.
Okay.
So I just figured it was like a Denny's. You know, they were
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. No.
Is there any around here?
I think there might be one in the whole state, if I remember correctly, and that's like down
Talk
south
about a
ways.
grease trap.
Yeah, I mean,
You ever been to a Waffle House?
a few times. But there's something else. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason they have the Waffle House Index for natural disasters.
What?
You
What
know-
is that?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, you have to explain that. Waffle House Index.
So there's a Waffle House Index, and this is a legitimate thing that like FEMA and the United States government use.
Get the fuck out of here.
And it's if a Waffle House is serving its full menu, that's the natural disaster is like not that bad. Like, yeah, there's some flooding or whatever, but it's not that bad. If they're serving like a limited menu, but they still have like power and they're still able to serve hot food, then it's a moderate need. And if they're just serving like cold foods, that's like a serious disaster.
Because
Waffle House is always open.
That's a real fucking
That's a
thing.
real thing. There were Waffle Houses that were open during like Katrina
Waffle
and
House
stuff like
is
that.
always open. There it is, dude. I always look for a
There
title.
you go. There you go.
No shit.
Yeah.
So
it has its
Waffle
own
House
Wikipedia and everything.
Index
The Waffle House Index.
for a natural disaster.
Yep. And I'm probably explaining it really poorly, but that's the gist
Well,
of it,
I was going
right?
to say,
And
yeah.
that's like
Whoa.
they use it, and it's like they have like the red, yellow, and green, but depending on what food the Waffle
So
House
if you
is
go
serving.
if you go in there and all you can get is a cold cut sandwich and a cup of coffee. Well,
Yeah.
not even a cup of coffee.
yeah, you're cold coffee maybe, cold brew. There you go.
Yeah, wow. Just cold brew and Waffle House. There's a
Yeah.
oxymoron, huh?
But yeah, if you go in there and they're like, yeah, we have a cold cereal, then you know it's bad.
Whoa, that is fucking fascinating, dude. That's awesome. Anyway, all right. So you're 16 working at Kmart.
Yeah, so I'm 16 working at Kmart, starting to make, money for a 16-year-old kid. Like I'm starting to have some cash,
Sure.
Some kind of savings. And I was kind of like, I can't keep doing this, right? So I'm going to school, I'm going to high school.
Right.
I leave high school, I get out at 3:00 or whatever. I get home, I change, I head to work. I'm there till closing, 10:30. I leave there, I go home, I sleep, I go to school, repeat.
Sure.
So,
That's how I grew up.
and it's and it's
Not
one of
working
those
at Kmart, but same thing.
And so I'm like, okay, so what can I do to kind of reduce the burden on my mom and on my brother? Because now I'm 16, he's 13. He's starting to eat everything too. So you got two mouths eating all this food.
Sure.
And I'm working most nights of the week. I'm working 35 hours a week, as many as they'd let me work without being full time, quote unquote.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm doing all that, and I'm like, all right. So I start hanging out with friends. After work, I'll go to a friend's house, or if I have the night off, I'll go to a friend's house for dinner, and just hang out with friends. And just
Now you're consciously doing this. Well, one, to hang out with your friends, but knowing that you're trying to relieve a little bit of burden from your mom.
Yeah, I knew that if I was not there trying to eat, eating all that food, my brother had the food, and like at least it wasn't two mouths, so mom didn't have to make two servings of two packs of the pasta sides or whatever,
Yeah.
3 servings of whatever for the two of us. She could make what she needed to
A
make.
box of macaroni might go for 2 meals at that point.
I mean, maybe.
Well,
But
without you there.
Yeah, without me there. Yeah,
that's
maybe.
what I mean.
Yeah. But just to be able to say, okay, so she has to worry less about that, and she can,
sure.
and I'm still getting food, I'm still doing my thing, but
Man, for you to think of this at 16 years old, dude. I mean, how cool is that? I
Yeah.
mean, that just came naturally to you, right?
Yeah.
You didn't. Somebody didn't go like, "Hey, you should not."
No, I mean, it was very much like this is just I've always been very independent,
Right.
and my mom says I was like an adult the moment I came into the world, but I've always been very independent and very kind of like mature for my age.
Yeah.
So I
that
saw-
is super cool that you thought of that and like took action.
Yeah,
At 16.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I can't let this keep happening. So I did that pretty much until I ended up going to college. So I would, I would come home, and I would hang out. I would see my family. I would go home.
Right, not like you abandoned them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but I wouldn't, I would consciously try to either, get food at work or kind of move around and whatnot, and just make sure that that my brother would have what he could get. Yeah.
Did your mom or dad ever say anything to you about that? Like, did they notice that, or did they say thanks for not thanks, but did they notice it like you were working?
Yeah, I think it was
Obviously,
more
they know
like
you
it
were
was more it was more I was working, and they just kind of chalked it up to I'm working. So I would say, I would leave in the middle of the morning. It'd be like, I'd leave, or one of my friends would be like, hey, want to come over? And it's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I'd be like, yeah, because then I can get out and I don't have to be here for tomorrow. Like I can go just say, because I know I work tomorrow afternoon, so I'm going to leave, it's a Saturday. I'm going to leave overnight and just say, oh, I'm working the morning shift. And then my parents think I'm working. I'm not my friends. I just work a long shift.
Yeah. And the thing is, you telling them that you were working and you weren't working was not for them to think that you were out fucking around. It was for them, you're getting all tongue-tied here. Your point was to relieve the burden, like we've been talking about.
Right. And a peace of mind,
dude.
To not
for you
not
to think
thinking,
about that, laying there at 10:30 at night, and being like, "Hey, man, if I leave, I just tell her I'm working. That way, she don't have to worry about feeding me breakfast in the morning." Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's pretty much it. Yeah. It was just one of those things where I was like, I know I'm gonna have these particular static things. So school, and then work were static things that I could kind of center around. And if I could get lunch at school, and then dinner at work, whether it's, getting the junky, like the clearance food or whatever that's gone,
Oh, because at that time, the Little Caesars weren't in there.
Oh, no, they were
Were
there.
they?
Yeah. Actually, I think I came in right after Little Caesars went away, but they had the K Cafe, which was like the burgers and whatever,
sure.
the really terrible food.
Yeah, but it was cheap, right?
Yeah, it was cheap.
Yeah.
Or you'd go back to, you'd find something that was damaged and you'd take it up to the front and be like, hey, half price on this.
Yeah,
and just your employee, they're like, yeah, half price. So,
now, what did you do at Kmart? Just a variety of things? Just whatever needed to be done?
Technically, I was in the electronics department, but because I was, young and knew how to work a television remote. But I moved, I did everything on the non-clothing side of the store. So sporting goods through electronics, home goods, everything.
Sure. And now you were driving at that point?
Yeah. So I was driving
for a car.
Oldsmobile Sierra Cutlass. That's right. Yeah. It was my grandfather's car. So when he passed away, I got it. It was bequeathed to me. So I picked that up right before. That was like shortly before I took my driver's test, and then took that, and that's what I drove until freshman year of college.
Huh.
So before
and
that died.
And your dad was still alive at this point, right?
Yeah. At that point, my dad was still alive. Yeah.
And he wasn't working?
No. So he didn't hold a steady job the rest of his life. Just between the disability and then through as time went on, just that not having something and not moving, he had suffered from depression,
everything else, right?
Right. And you have been working, you've been raised to work, and then you're not able to. So he got depressed, fueled everything else. And then, by the time, even if he was physically able, he was no longer physically able because he had, just deteriorated. Yeah.
Mentally and physically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's brutal. So then what, you went to college right after high school? Yeah.
So I left high school, graduated, class of 93 people, huge class. I know.
Oh, where were you ranked? 92?
Yeah. If you're counting backwards now, I want to say I was top 10, maybe top 15, somewhere in there. I was a good student. I could tell
you'd be a good student.
I did what I needed to do.
Yep.
And, a couple teachers helped me along the way with knowing the situation of me working a lot. Just kind of like give me a slide on homework. Like if homework was a big part of the grade, I would just say, hey, I don't do homework because this is the other stuff I'm doing.
Right,
and I would get C on all my homework because, you completed that, check mark, kind of thing,
yeah, sure,
which is great.
Sure.
I really appreciate that from those
absolutely.
teachers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I left college or I left school, applied several places. I knew what I wanted to do. So that was the biggest
Okay,
key.
so, and then were you looking to stay local for family reasons?
I was pretty much wherever I could go. Cause I was very focused on I knew what I wanted to do. I'd known since ninth grade, I wanted to do graphic design. I was big into skateboarding and music. I saw the skateboards and the apparel and all that. And I said, who does that? I want to be that guy.
The designs.
Who makes the designs that go on a
Can't talk
skateboard?
tonight, dude. Sorry. Blah.
No, you're good. Who makes the designs that go on the skateboard? Who makes the shirts? Who does those things? I want to do that. And when I found out that's a graphic designer. Who does that logo? It's a graphic designer.
I want to learn
I was
to
like,
do that.
I want to learn how to do that. So I took the class in high school. I made it my mission to be that and like get that. So that's all that I applied for college was I looked at schools that had great design programs and like were either, I looked at some of the big name ones around and I looked, I said, hey, Susquehanna's one. It's right here.
Yep.
It's
How convenient.
it's convenient. It's a great program. I can keep my job where I'm currently working. Don't have to change jobs or anything like that.
Yeah. So, did you stay working at Kmart?
So I did for the first semester, I think. And then that was right around the time that the Target had opened. And I was like, well, I know Target pays more. And the Kmart was like not.
And they have a cafe.
Yeah, I mean, and it's Target, not Kmart. And this was the time when Kmart was really, you could see it going downhill fast, and I'm sitting there, I'm on the inside going, we haven't like cleaned, we don't have a new stock of anything. We haven't cleaned anything in a while. What's going on? So I was kind of like, okay, let me figure this out. So I went to the Target, applied and got hired there. I worked 2 jobs for that summer.
So at Kmart
I worked at Kmart and Target.
Because Kmart didn't care or Target didn't care?
Target was like, sure, you can do that because they knew like what am I gonna take to Kmart that and Kmart was like, yeah, whatever you need. Whatever you want to do. They knew. They saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
So they were like, whatever. And I mean, at that point, I was working mostly in the garden area of Kmart. I enjoyed that. That was outside. It was. I got to stay outside there, tend to plants.
Is that Kmart still open?
It just closed not too long ago. It's like maybe 2 years or so, 2 or 3. It stayed open.
They held on for a while.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years after I left there, they were still going. So.
Yeah, the one here in Orange up the hill.
Yeah.
There's been a couple times there's a sign up there, store closing, and then it's still open. That's crazy. But.
Yeah. But yeah, then so I worked at Target then. Through college, and actually I only left there when I moved out here after college.
Wow, what'd you end up doing at Target? A little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything. So I had started again in the electronics area, and kind of I'm the kind of guy that's like I see something like, hey, that needs done, I'll do it, and I'll go do it, and that people appreciated that and started,
especially in that environment.
Yeah, and
you
it's
accelerate quick, and you're not surrounded by the most ambitious people in the world.
Right. Yeah. So, everything from working in the back room, doing stock stuff to setting up new displays, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Early morning shifts, overnight shifts, whatever they needed. It's like, yep, I'll do it.
So you just balance that between your schedule and at college?
Yeah.
To what?
Yeah. So I did full-time school. And in the program that I was in, it was like significant number of hours because it's design, you're in the lab, you're creating product, creating all this stuff.
Right.
The work at Target somewhere around 30 hours a week, and then I also had a job on campus sophomore, junior, and senior year.
Damn, doing what?
So sophomore, I think it was sophomore year, second semester sophomore year, I started doing as a design intern for the communications department. Okay. Rolled that into a summer job there, doing the same thing, like as an intern for the communications department, doing this, the stuff that goes out to the prospective students, alumni, all that.
Yep.
And then from there, I moved into the student photographer role. So when they needed someone at events to take photos of, around the school, around campus, events, whatever, I would be there taking the photos. Yeah.
Now, you still mess around with photography?
I haven't in a while. Okay. It's one of those like hobbies that every once in a while I'll pull the camera out and go do something. But
And not just your phone.
Yeah,
An
not
actual
just my phone.
camera.
Yeah, an actual DSLR. But at this point, I think my phone has a better sensor than my camera actually does.
Yeah, that's.
My camera's old. You know, I bought it senior year of high school.
Oh, your phone is much better
Yeah,
than that
yeah.
camera.
But it was, at the time it was like, hey man, look what I was able to do with the money I made. I was able to buy myself a DSLR.
Check this out. I bought this.
Yeah, it's like, look at what I bought. And I bought it for a silly reason. I bought it to shoot photos of me skateboarding, me and my friend skateboarding.
Hey,
but
whatever. Right?
yeah.
Huh. So where did all this punk stuff come in?
Yeah,
man?
so-
this is, there's got to be a story in here somewhere.
So the story really starts. I mean, it really
You're-
starts.
sorry, but your story, that's fucking, dude, I commend you for growing up thinking that way and working, and that is awesome, dude. I got goosebumps just thinking about it. No, that's fucking cool, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's it all comes back to the punk stuff at the end. Really, is because I was listening to punk music at that point, and I didn't have the mohawk at the time, but I had the mentality of do what you can do, control what you can control, and the rest will follow.
Sure.
So my dad was always super musically inclined. He played in a couple bands. He played bass.
cool.
Did some cool stuff with music.
What kind of music did he like?
Everything.
Jazz on jazz?
Not jazz on jazz. No. He did enjoy jazz, but so he played like jam band kind of stuff, just like getting together with his friends and playing. But from the house, we'd if we were cleaning on the weekend, the stereo he had a 5-disc changer, and
that was big time.
that was that was big time.
That was big time.
And what would go in there was Vivaldi, The Who, the Sex Pistols, Waylon Jennings, and like Supertramp,
Holy shit.
and just shuffle
Is that
all,
That's
and
a good
just
mix.
mix of everything.
Yeah, shuffle all, repeat.
Yeah,
I used
just
to do that.
turn it all on and let it go.
That is cool.
So such a diverse background, but there was something about I would hear the Sex Pistols or the Clash, I'd be like, that's really cool. I like that.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's just like I like that. I like that a lot. And then I'd be listening. I would find out who they were, and start listening to them. See who they thanked in the album, or see who was related to them, or what came up when I looked them up.
Right.
And start listening to those and branch out from there.
Right.
So I started listening to that, and then I found hardcore with Minor Threat and Black Flag and those early '80s hardcore bands, where it's just just sheer wall of noise and just power and speed. I was like, this is awesome.
That is super cool.
So I really got into that, and that's where the whole straight edge thing comes in, and that whole side of my mentality and my controlling what you control.
That's really cool to hear you get it from that. Right?
Right, yeah.
I mean, obviously you get some of that from your parents and upbringing, but to see that and be like, no, I'm going to control this. I can control it, and this is what I'm going to do.
Exactly.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and that's where that's the I have 3 tattoos, and 2 of them are musical related. One of them's Vivaldi. That's my big one on my arm.
That's the one. Yeah.
So
yeah, because I think my wife was like, "Wait a minute, I know that."
Yeah. It
That was crazy that
Yeah.
one night. She's like, "I think I know that piece."
Yeah. So it's Spring Allegro from Vivaldi. It's the classic. It's just a beautiful classical piece. I can see the music when I hear it.
Right.
And I was like, that's what I want.
Do you play any music, or do you play any instruments?
So I play guitar primarily. I was
Acoustic, electric?
both.
Okay.
Yeah. If I play acoustic, I play more of the folk punk stuff.
Sure,
But when I play my electric, it's loud and fast. Give me 3 or 4 chords and just go to town.
That's all you need, man.
That's all you need.
And I couldn't be able to tell if you were in tune or not. I'd be like, "Oh, that sounds good, dude."
There you go. Yeah.
And
Well,
somebody'd be
that's
like,
the
"That's
best.
fucking way out of tune." I'm like, "This sounds good."
Sounds
I do
good.
not have a musical ear.
Yeah. Thankfully, that's
Some of that
one of
from
the
your dad, probably, right?
Yeah. I
Is your
mean,
mom musically inclined?
not musically inclined necessarily, but really enjoys music too. So it's very much music almost all the time in the house.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
I love
yeah, good
music,
stuff.
Yeah, same here. We play. Val has introduced me to some crazy music. She's chamber camp, and she's a classical, not classical. I'm sorry, chamber clarinetist.
Okay. Oh,
So she knows all. I mean, she can pick out that music.
that's awesome.
She tells me stories of, when I was working, growing up, and around my family and stuff. It was like Waylon Jennings and all
Right.
that, right? Well, her family, they'd go on the drive to school. Her dad would be playing classical music, and he'd be like, "Name this," and they'd name the, You know, so that's why when she saw your arm, she's
Yeah.
like, I can do that.
That's right. That's because I think we talked about, because she's the clarinetist, and
Yep.
I did clarinet for several years through
Oh, no
elementary
shit.
school. Yeah.
Ah,
So I played clarinet for several years, and that's kind of where I learned to sight read and do all the things that like the chamber musicians do with the sight reading and playing
Yeah,
the
yeah.
classical stuff, and that's where a lot of that came in.
Oh, that's cool. I've become to like a lot of that classical music.
Yeah.
You know, and then seeing how much joy it brings my wife, you know, that always,
Yeah.
you know,
That's always
when you
good.
see somebody enjoying something like that. you know.
Yeah. Have you listened to Holst yet and the Planets?
I have fucking no idea what you're talking about, dude.
It
Good?
Gustav Holst, the Planets suite. It's
Oh,
he wrote
okay.
he wrote music like around the idea of the planets, and like Mars is the bringer of war, so it's the way the music sounds, and Venus is the bringer of peace and how that sounds.
No shit.
And it's like if you're like a rock heavy metal person, this is like classical music for like heavy metal people.
So it's not like when Metallica and the San Francisco Orchestra played together. It's not like that.
There's not electric guitar, but there's a lot of good stuff going on. There's a lot of cool stuff, and when
Would
you
you-
listen to it, you'll catch a lot of, oh, I see where that inspiration came from
Oh,
for
okay,
you
okay.
know, several major motion pictures.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I like theatrical music.
yeah,
like
that's what it is. It's old school theatrical music
that.
instead
Okay,
of
I work out to a lot of that.
Oh yeah,
Did I ever tell you that?
no,
So it's called Machiavelli Motivation.
Oh, okay.
This company puts these motivational clips together. They're 4 or 5 minutes a piece. And it's a combination of, you know, guys fucking hollering and screaming, you know, get off your ass, you're a pussy, and all that good stuff.
oh yeah,
But then most of them is theatrical music. And you're like, when I'm listening to them, like, I know what movie that's from. You know, because
Yeah.
it's all this. They use, it's recycled stuff.
right,
You know, it's so good that you can recycle it.
yeah,
Yeah. Earlier guest of mine a couple weeks ago, well, no, longer than that. The episode's not out yet. It'll be by the time this episode comes out.
right,
He's a documentary filmmaker,
okay,
and he was doing a documentary on a 96-year-old grandmother that's a Holocaust survivor, that's a lead singer in a thrash metal band.
that's amazing.
And that fucking, wait
All
till
right,
you hear that.
yeah, I was saying
Oh,
I have
my
to
God,
I have to get the
dude.
name of that band and just go to town.
Oh my God. I was like, I listened to it. I'm like, that's what?
It's amazing.
Yeah. So when you hear somebody say, I can't do that, I'm too old.
Yeah, yeah.
What is, look at this.
That's mentality.
Oh, yeah. I think,
yeah.
What's the phrase, heard it a long time ago, age is a mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter.
There you go.
You know?
That's, you know what?
What the fuck?
And it works both ways. It's like, you know what? You could be 96 and the thrash metal lead singer. You could be 20 something and walk into a room full of, you know, president, CEOs, owners of companies, and
Oh, I see what you're saying.
you know what I mean? It doesn't matter
own
which
it.
end of the spectrum.
Right,
You know,
right.
if you
Oh, yeah,
own
okay.
it,
I see what you're
you
saying.
own you own
Oh, absolutely.
what you're thinking, and
Fuck,
you know,
absolutely. You could be 20 years old and walk into, like you said, 45-year-old men and women that run big companies and own the fucking room.
Yep.
Just own it.
Yeah,
That's it. And know that you're going to look like an ass once in a while.
yeah, it happens.
You know, yeah.
It's a learning experience.
Yeah, you got to learn somehow.
But yeah,
So, punk.
yeah. But so all through my teenage years, it was punk. You know, I delved into the heavy metal stuff for a while.
Like when you say heavy metal,
Yeah. So I mean everything from starting with like Iron Maiden, Slayer,
Sure.
kind of the
Okay.
classic metal, into Lamb of God, Megadeth, or Masuga, kind of Meshuggah.
Oh, okay.
They're like
Yeah,
kind of doing those kind of the more like riff and groove based, like the really weird stuff. Tool, like the really weird off time, weird time
Nice.
signature, like the quote unquote like intellectual metal, where it's like, oh, this is like in 17/8 or whatever, and people
Yeah,
are like,
yeah.
what is this? What is this
what-
even? What is this music? And you're like, it's heavy metal. I'm like, no, it's not. Like it is. You just don't understand it. Into like the black metal stuff. So even that
What's
kind
black
of
metal?
so
What's
like
an
the
example of
like
that?
Dimmu Borgir, like these Norwegian Swedish bands.
Oh,
That's
shit.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
I've
really
heard that
crazy.
before, yeah.
Like, but the orchestration is so incredible. You know, they have full orchestras on their album.
Well, I was just going to say, how big? I mean, you just answered it, but they're not like 4 dudes, 5 dudes like we think of a band. They're like huge orchestras and huge
Yeah, so some of them
amount
are
of people.
Yeah, some of them are that like four core dudes,
Right.
and then they have session musicians that come in or touring musicians that play.
But I don't
But or they'll have the orchestra. You know, there's albums where they just have a whole orchestra backing them, and it's amazing to hear just these intense, like crazy fast technical heavy metal riffs backed by strings, like these
orchestra,
swelling
yeah.
strings. And
Well, I got into that when Metallica did that with, was it San Francisco
okay, yeah,
Orchestra or whatever that is. I know I'm butchering the name of it, but they have an whole album about that, and I just love that.
yeah,
I thought that was cool as hell.
it
I
adds
should
a new
play that
level.
for Val.
There you go.
I got to bring that up. Be like, hey, I got some orchestra music for you. She'd be like, this is not orchestra music. Anyway,
Yeah.
but just deeper and deper into that. And then
Yeah.
going to shows.
Yeah,
You love
just-
going to shows, don't you?
I do, yeah. Just getting deeper into the punk stuff, deeper into the metal, and I went to the Ozfest. I forget which one it was, but it was when they did it free. It was like if you bought a certain number of Monster Energy drink packets, you got like free tickets. So
That's
we went out to
amazing.
Pittsburgh.
So you swelling energy
Oh,
drinks
yeah, so
for like
just-
6 months
Oh
to
yeah,
get enough
just
packages.
pounding energy drinks just to get enough packages to get 4 free tickets because
Yeah,
myself, my brother, and my really good friend all went, and we went out to Pittsburgh where we have a family friend lives out there.
Okay.
And they have a son who's a little bit older than I am, and we all went, and that was the year that Static X was there.
Yep.
Lamb of God was there, and
Was that like an all-day festival
yeah,
type thing?
yeah. It was early morning all the way till like night. But it was
just ate that up,
so
didn't you?
good. Oh, I was like 16, like 15 or 16.
Oh, all
It's
that
like, this
energy.
is amazing. Yeah, it's
Try that now, dude. You recover for 4 days.
Oh no, I still go to that
You
stuff.
still- oh,
Yeah,
nice.
not the
Good
metal
for you.
stuff, but I do festivals. I try to go to several. There was one. They haven't done it in a couple of years, but it was called Punk Rock Bowling, and it's a 3-day festival of all these punk rock bands.
Okay.
And it's everything from like the kind of like ska and oi to like the real like the 70s, like the classic punk sound of like the Sex Pistols and stuff like that.
Sure. Now, is it the Warp Tour?
No, so that I've never did the Warp Tour.
Because
That's still going.
Okay,
Maybe they stopped doing it now, but
I did it a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Filmed it. We were hired to film
that's
it.
awesome.
But that's right in your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah, I mean some of it is. The recent ones have been more in my wheelhouse. They trended away from the kind of the music, the punk that I like, and went more to kind of like the stuff that's more
mainstream.
geared toward it's more geared toward like younger audiences, like that 13 to 17.
It is a business.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
geared, a lot of it's geared to the 13 to 17-year-old girls. And that not that there's anything wrong with it necessarily, but some of the
Sure.
bands are creeps. There's a lot of like real creepy stuff that happens with some of those bands.
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
So
we
it's
could
like-
use our imagination there. Well,
Yeah,
we wouldn't even have to
yeah.
use our imagination.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
so it's like I avoid a lot of those bands, but no, it was Punk Rock Bowling, and they did it down in Asbury Park. So it's like you go down to
great
Asbury
setting.
Park
Oh my
at the
God.
Stone Pony
Oh my
outdoors. It's like this is amazing, and it's just great music, great bands, and just great people. Like I've met so many people at these shows. And it doesn't matter who you're there to see or like what you're like, who you are. It's like, hey, I know that band. That's cool. Like you wearing a band t-shirt. It's like, oh, hey, I know that band. They're really good. I saw them, 2 years ago. Oh, I was there too. Oh, that's funny. And you have a conversation about a
absolutely.
band, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're talking with this person, and there's still people that like I see at shows, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? Like I still know
That's
them
the
from
only-
the
that's the
show.
only time you see 'em,
Yeah,
right?
it's the only
It's when
time I
the
see
show.
them. But
yeah,
but it's good stuff. And
camaraderie is cool.
yeah, and I go to a couple shows every year. So I've actually got one
And did-
coming up in November.
Okay,
So
so
down in Asbury.
is it down? You try
Yeah.
to stay local, just catch them locally, or
Yeah, I haven't traveled too far to see anyone. I go to the city occasionally for people. If someone's playing
Sure.
that I'm like, oh, I need to see them. I'll go to the city. I'll go down to Asbury Park a lot.
Right,
'Cause
right.
most of them come through there.
now does was it where the casino is in Pennsylvania? Bethlehem.
Oh, Bethlehem.
Bethlehem. Do they? Because I know they do a lot of stuff around there. Is that they drawing anything that you would go see there?
Not recently that I've seen. I haven't seen anyone that really like grabbed me
Okay.
to go there. I've gone to like Reading, Pennsylvania, down
Yeah,
near
yeah.
Philly. I've gone to
Yeah,
Philly for some shows, stuff like that. Like
I could see Philly being.
Yeah.
That's where the Warp Tour was.
yeah.
Down
Yep.
by Philly.
Yeah, if it's the right band, I'll go pretty far, but it has to be the
Sure.
right, you know.
So what's the wife think of? She into this?
Yeah. She actually like kind of reintroduced me to it. So
cool.
so when I came into college, I wasn't, you know, I was in a weird headspace, not loving a lot of the music, but I wasn't being introduced to good quote unquote punk. I was being introduced to the stuff we talked about just a little bit ago with like the Warped Tour stuff. And she was like, no, you need to listen to this band. And you need to listen to this band and this band. And I started listening to them and being like, oh yeah, this is what I loved about this music.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
the take charge, you can only control yourself. You can only, you can't rely on the world for anything. You have to go do it. And kind of that brought me back into it. And that's where freshman year of college, I started the Mohawk. Because it was like, this is me taking charge of something I can control. It's my appearance.
Yeah.
Is how can I, break all this stuff that I'm dealing with and just make my appearance
own.
something my own, right? I own this. So I started growing the Mohawk. And
How long did it take you? Because that was pretty high.
yeah, so at its peak, it was 9 inches.
Damn.
And that
Did
took
you,
me like
sleep
3
on
years.
your side?
Yeah. I would, if I had put it up the day before, I would sleep on my side and try to get like another day or two out of it.
Sure.
It was trying to drive was always funny because I would have to sit so low in my car and was like doing the whole like real low, one hand on the steering wheel kind of like
trying
thing.
to act all cool.
Yeah, well, it looked real cool, I'm sure, but just trying to not scrape the top of my car with it because then it gets bent and it looks bad.
Right. How were the looks? People really give you looks?
Some people did. It was
I was gonna say,
weird.
at that time though, that was kind of, they were around a lot more at that time, right? Mohawks.
Not where I was. So
Okay.
in central Pennsylvania, it really wasn't.
Oh,
so
yeah,
and that's
true.
the thing is
That's
like
true.
we're talking central Pennsylvania, like farm country. So it's like
Yeah.
you've got you've got me walking around with this giant mohawk.
And you worked at Target with that?
Yeah, Target loved it. Kmart,
shit.
yeah. So Kmart was really mad because first I started with like the faux hawk just on the top,
Yeah, sure.
and Kmart was like, I distinctly remember the one manager saying, it's getting pretty long, isn't it?
Yep.
And it was like,
that's the point.
I was like, yeah. And I'm thinking about growing the back out too.
No
And then
shit.
like a couple of months later, I left there and I was at Target and I talked to my manager one day. I was like, hey, Todd, so, I have this mohawk. I'm growing it more. That cool? And he was like, yeah. He's like, whatever. He's like, it doesn't affect the way you serve customers. You're good.
No shit. That's awesome though.
And-
To hear that, that's awesome.
Yeah, and he was a cool dude, and like everyone, my experience with Target was nothing but great. Like that they were great. And then what was funny was over time it became like a thing. People would come to the electronics desk and ask, "Is the guy with the mohawk here?"
Oh, that's awesome.
Because word got around like I did right by the customer. Like I would always be nice. I
Sure,
would
and
always
they
try to,
identified you with
and
that.
they figured out who I was.
Right.
And there would be regulars that would come in and be like, "Is the mohawk guy here?" And
they
like
don't
that
know
was
your,
it.
they don't know your
my
name.
They don't remember my name, but they remember the mohawk.
And then anything at school, obviously. They
No,
didn't
it
give
was a
shit.
liberal arts college. They were they were like, oh, that's fine, whatever.
Now, so Pennsylvania, you might stick out a little bit, but you go to New York for a show, man.
Oh yeah,
you're
no.
right in the
I mean,
mix
it was. Oh yeah, I mean,
that's your people at that point.
that was
right?
like I mean, that was like a calling card for a lot of the people I met. Were like, I love your hair. I'm like, thanks, I like yours, and then we start talking.
Sure.
So it was
breaks
very
the
much,
ice, right?
yeah.
Absolutely. So I just way off topic, but this is what's great. I heard a long time ago a stupid fucking pickup line, but when you deliver it correctly, it's amazing. And my wife just rolled her eyes. I didn't use this pickup line with her. We were dating, deep into dating before I brought this one up. So it's, you know how much a polar bear weighs?
How much?
Enough to break the ice. My name's Walt. Terrible, right? Fucking terrible. Look at you. You don't even know what to say, dude.
Yeah, no, it's just like okay.
Okay.
It's like
but the thing is, though, if you deliver it right, I mean,
Yeah.
my delivery was kind of shitty.
yeah, no, but I
But-
follow.
But you deliver it right. It's so dumb. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Seriously, dude, you just played that on me?
Yeah.
So, it's kind of reverse psychology.
Yeah, it's
right?
like a little bit of humor. It's like it's not obscene. It's not like one of the ridiculous things that you
Hey,
see online.
You're beautiful.
Yeah.
My name's Walt.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You creep?
Yeah, you hear that
Get
6
away
times a night, I'm sure, kind
from-
of, yeah.
Right.
But
punk music though,
Yeah.
that's been with you forever.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's
That is so cool.
to this day. It's like if there's, I mean, music in general, but it's like I love it. It's like I just
So I
take as
got a
much of it
question
in.
for you.
Yeah.
There was this again years ago, and it stuck with me, and I wholeheartedly believe this. So with you being, with your musical history and liking punk, that certain genre of music, right?
Yeah.
And I know you like a lot of other music, but they said there's a survey, and they said there was only one person / band in history that could be, their music could be inserted anywhere and nobody gets upset. So imagine if you're in the middle of a punk concert, hardcore, say like Norwegian, like
Yeah.
you would consider that hardcore, right?
Yeah, like the Norwegian metal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then in the middle, like you're in the they're not playing, but that music's playing like in a club, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And then they could insert this song, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's cool," but then go right back to, "What do you think that is?"
I know because you told me the other night.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
I think so. Johnny Cash.
Oh, did I say that the other night?
Maybe, or maybe you said it some other time, and I
think
picked
I said
up
it
on
some
it.
other
Probably.
because
Yeah.
we talked about your music. I find your music interesting
Yeah.
because I have no interest in it. And to be honest with you,
Yeah,
right?
no.
I mean, so to see that you're so passionate about it, and now the history of it's really cool.
Yeah.
But do you believe that with Johnny Cash?
Oh yeah.
So,
the
like, you
number of
could-
bands that have covered Johnny Cash or reference him in some way,
right.
it's. I mean, you can't deny great songwriting and great lyrical content.
He's just fucking man.
It's just so good.
Yeah, right.
Like he's so good.
Yeah, so like that you could insert "Walk the Line" and everybody'd be like, "That's fucking cool."
Yeah.
It's fucking Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
But put the Dixie Chicks in the middle of that, you might have a little problem, right?
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Everybody'd be like, "What the?" Fuck?
Although I've seen some really funny mixes come up at like punk shows where it's like you're just hanging out between sets or whatever.
Oh, that's
and all of
when
a
the
sudden,
great music. Oh,
all of a sudden something ridiculous comes in. ABBA comes on, and it's just like a bunch
what's
of.
the matter with that, dude?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but there are people who might. But
Yeah.
and you're just sitting there and you're like, do I hear Dancing Queen? And then all of a sudden there's 300 punks singing Dancing Queen and dancing along in the
Yeah.
club, and you're just like, yep, this is
that
this
works.
is normal, whatever.
Yeah. But like you said, whatever moves you, right?
Exactly, yeah.
It doesn't matter what genre it is and all that. What's the other small town girl song? God, what the hell's that song?
Oh, Uptown Girl.
No.
No?
Is it Journey? It's like the number one
Oh,
karaoke song.
Oh yeah. Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. That could
Oh
be like
yeah, that comes
like,
on. Yeah.
That could become an intermission, and everybody would just start singing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because everyone
That's
knows
kinda
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Right. And it's got that. You're like, and you can go along.
Yeah,
No,
for sure.
music is. So, the question was, on Saturday morning when you and your wife are at home cleaning the house, what's playing?
Oh, I mean, if that's the case, it's classical. If we're like
Oh,
cleaning and
wow.
stuff like that, it's classical. Just because her musical taste has diverged to different stuff than mine,
Okay.
and mine has diverged a little bit.
But you can meet at classical.
And we can meet at classical. We can meet at kind of those. We can meet at like Riot Girl stuff. So like Bikini Kill, stuff like that. Like
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, 90s like feminist punk rock.
Oh, okay.
Like cool stuff, just like beyond like out of its time. Like just a fury coming out from like the early 90s, and just
That's
like
awesome.
this is so good.
Huh. So that, like, obviously you're not having CDs on random. You have your phone on random.
Yeah, phone, or we have a
mix.
stereo that just turn on the local classical channel.
Now, how about, what's your thought on record players, like having a real record?
I have one.
No
I
shit.
don't use it very often, but I like it. I'm starting my collection.
Oh.
So start
Do you
with.
think it sounds different, better, worse? Like, what's your thoughts of an actual record?
I mean, I don't know. I like the sound of it. It doesn't get loud enough for me. I need to get like an amp and some
I was just gonna
speakers.
say,
And
you
I need to
gotta
jazz
get
it
a
up.
system.
Then it'll probably
Yeah,
be
you get
really
a
good.
system.
But
I get now is punk designed to play just fucking loud and like distorted?
Yeah, I
or
mean,
no?
you really, yeah. I mean, there's not. I mean, other than like the folk punk stuff with like the banjos, the acoustic guitar, and like,
Punk.
yeah, dude,
Man,
it's
dude, you're
it's
opening
the
my world with
yeah,
this music.
it's so funny. It's like banjos, trumpet, washboard, like a stand up bass, and an acoustic guitar,
Oh, there's nothing wrong with stand-up bass.
and it's just
I love a stand-up bass.
it's just like funny stuff, like whether it's just humorous or like talking about like life on the road or like riding the rails and stuff like that. It's great. It's great stuff.
No shit.
But-
You'll
but-
have to send me a clip of that.
Yeah.
I'd like to just get a taste
I'll give you a
of that.
couple bands,
Yeah, that would be cool.
but
The other thing too was, what's your thought on country music?
are we talking real country or are we talking Chevrolet country? Because there's a big
Chevrolet
difference.
country?
That's I heard it called that. I was
What?
like, that is the perfect analogy because
What
you
the
have
fuck is Chevrolet country?
the Jason Aldean, the what is the name?
Kind of
The-
modern?
Yeah, like the contemporary country, the contemporary country pop.
Some of that's all right.
Yeah, see, I can't get into it. It's
I'm
anything
probably-
that's playing on the radio that's like quote
I
unquote
would-
country stuff. I can't stand like any of that. But Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, like that stuff, the outlaw country, the real outlaw
real
country,
outlaw country, right?
all
right.
day, all day.
Yeah. We were traveling the other day, and I said, "Hey, play Waylon Jennings." She goes, my wife goes, "I like that group." I was like, what the fuck did you just, what? That's not a group. She's like, the Wailing Jennings. Didn't that what you just said? And I'm like, no, I said Wailing Jennings. And she's like, I don't know who that is. So, of course.
Yeah.
Up comes YouTube.
There you go.
And then once she heard it, she knew.
Yeah.
She heard the song, but she just didn't know who it was.
Yeah, definitely.
Chevy.
Yeah, Chevrolet country. That's I forget who said that, but someone called it that. I was like, that's perfect because it's the fake, the people who buy the Chevys and think like, oh, I'm country
No, I'm
now.
country.
I'm redneck now because I bought a truck. And I'm like,
Dude,
you brought the brand new like 2019,
Yeah,
you know,
you put
Silverado or F-150 or whatever.
Yeah, and it never sees any dirt.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
and
like
the bed is clean.
yeah, the bed is clean.
Or,
Yeah,
unscratched.
yeah.
Look
And
at the bed of a truck, and then it'll tell you all about it.
yeah, and then you go where I grew up, and it's like people are driving like 1991
Yeah.
F-150s,
Yeah, that's where I
and
grew up, too.
there's like they're welded together at this point,
Yeah.
barely holding on.
So I'm thinking with probably early 2000s, maybe. The 90s country I liked. And then when it started getting into 2000s, I started veering away from it.
Yeah,
So now it's podcasts and audible books,
yeah,
audiobooks. I don't listen to the radio very much.
yeah.
I might have a mix on YouTube where I listen while I'm driving, but yeah.
Yeah, I use any of the apps, you know, Spotify or whatever, and just I have my playlist. I have like one of my playlists has 5.5 days worth of music on it, and just hit shuffle and
Goddamn.
go.
Oh yeah, shuffle and fucking.
It's everything. It's, you know, it's punk music. It's it's alt stuff, 90s alt, Matchbox 20 or whatever.
Oh, that's
It's-
good music.
yeah.
Yeah, I like
You know,
that. Pearl Jam?
all that
You a
kind. Yeah, Pearl Jam.
fan?
Yeah, any of that kind of stuff. Just throw it on the playlist and hit shuffle and go.
Nice. Do you use YouTube Premiere?
No,
Or
I
Red?
don't.
I think it was either Red when they started, and it turned into Premiere. I think. Same
Yeah, no, I don't use that.
Fuck, dude. Blow your world. Do you use YouTube a lot?
No, I
Oh, okay,
really don't use
okay.
YouTube that much.
right.
I use Spotify. If it's something that's not on Spotify, I'll go to YouTube.
So the biggest advantage of Premiere I use for me
Mm-hmm.
is you can shut your phone off.
That makes so much sense. It's so much
Right?
better.
So if you play something, we'll give a demonstration while we're. Yeah, this is an idea. This is a example of my hardcore. So this is what I listen to when I'm at the gym. And I don't watch it, obviously,
Yeah.
because I'm working out.
Yeah.
Right? But what's cool about this, how
There you
fucking
go.
cool is that, right? So,
You can turn off the phone, turn off the screen, and it keeps playing.
right.
So cool.
I like this phrase right here.
You can knock me down 10 motherfucking times. If you don't think I'm going to get up the 11th time and come back swinging and knock
Fuck yeah. So
That's right.
the other thing is cool about it is so look, I just made the screen small, so now I can like use my phone,
Oh, okay.
and it's still playing. So fucking, it's just
Yeah.
it's $10 a month.
Yeah. And if you're using YouTube, that
Yeah, like and then
No
today,
brainer.
and I have channels like you said on Spotify.
right.
I have the same thing on here, and today at work, I just had that channel playing all day.
Yeah.
I have unlimited data.
Yeah,
so
there you
just
go.
fucking let it.
Just
I don't
play.
watch it. Obviously, I'm driving around.
Right.
But same thing.
Yeah.
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 So you said Chevrolet country, which I find fascinating, right? Phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna branch off. TV, right? We
Mm-hmm.
always watch TV. Now it's always Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, and all that bullshit, right?
Right.
Somebody said appointment TV is dead.
Appointment TV.
Isn't
What
that-
is that? What's appointment TV?
So, were you a Sopranos watcher?
No.
What?
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you didn't. Man,
I-
we're done. All right, guys, we're out of here. This fucking guy didn't watch Sopranos.
No, I don't know
okay,
when that was
did you,
on.
So back in the day, did you? I know we went through your story,
Mm-hmm.
which was fucking amazing. But did you have like a TV show that you watched? Like you made time. You're like, okay, on Wednesday night at 8:00, we got to be fucking home and watching TV. But you understand the concept.
Yeah, I
right?
understand the concept. Yeah,
So,
I didn't
like,
really
with
do it, but
Soprano-
yeah.
I bring Sopranos up because it's like, okay, at fucking 8:00 on Sunday night, what are you doing? What the fuck you think I'm doing? Watching Sopranos, aren't you?
Right,
You
gotcha.
know, one of those.
Yeah.
That's appointment TV.
Okay.
That's dead. Or it's dying rapidly. Because now you can just jump on your phone and watch whatever on YouTube, Netflix, Amazon. You can just play it right on your phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
no.
so these like catchphrases always fascinate me. It's
Yeah.
Chevrolet country, appointment TV. We could go on and on, but I just heard appointment TV the other day, and I thought I was like,
Yeah.
that fucking makes sense.
Yeah. No, and I mean it does. It makes sense. It's
I mean,
dead.
even now, like at home, you and the wife, you don't like go, okay, Wednesday night we got to sit down and watch this TV show.
Nah.
No,
We
you
have
sit down and you open up Amazon or Netflix, and you're like, oh, we're gonna watch this now.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I'm gonna resume.
right.
We fell asleep 2 nights ago watching it, so we're gonna resume halfway through. And look, it saved my spot.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that
It's-
fucking amazing?
Yeah, it's so good for someone like me who's constantly going,
Right.
And like
Same.
I'm out, I'm about. It's like I don't watch that much. We have like 2 shows that were like, oh right, yeah, at that time, it's a Sunday evening. Yeah, I'll park in front of the TV and watch something.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
otherwise, I'm usually not. I usually don't turn the TV on.
No, if we watch, we go in spurts,
Mm-hmm.
but most of the time, if we get 5 hours a week of TV, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Because like tonight, we won't watch any TV.
right.
By the time she gets home, we're done here. We'll just hang out, maybe cook some dinner, bullshit, actually visit with one another,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then go to bed.
Interact.
Yeah. Whoa,
like
what?
like a couple.
What? No, stop it.
Yeah.
No, come on,
that's
that don't
crazy.
happen.
I was just talking about this with one of my coworkers today. Is listen to Andy, the podcast.
For those, Andy Frisella,
Yes.
which is MFCEO project.
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah.
But-
I can see, okay, real quick though, I can see you listening to that and why you like it. Now knowing your story through the, Go Getter and like with punk rock.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to that guy, he's hardcore.
He's intense.
He's intense.
He's intense.
He's not for
He-
everybody.
I was just gonna say he's not for everyone. Either
Yeah.
I was talking about it to one of my coworkers. It's like, you're not gonna like this podcast. So I recommend you go listen to it. You're not gonna like it, but I recommend you listen to it. But at the same time, I've said, we were talking about his son is getting ready to join the working force, and kind of he's a senior. He's gonna be a senior this year, and in
Your
high school.
coworker's
Yeah,
son.
my coworker's son.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm like, Andy.
Oh yeah, no,
never
sorry,
talked
yeah,
about
no,
his son.
no. So my coworker's son is getting ready to get a job and be a senior in high school, and he's like, he and my coworker said he doesn't know how to hold a conversation. Like when he's ordering at restaurants, he's mumbling, not looking at people, not talking to them. Like, and I said, you know what it is? It's the phone. It's like I use my phone. I use it frequently.
Yeah.
Like I'll admit that.
But
I'll be
I
the
can
first to
still
admit
hold
it.
a fucking
But I can still,
conversation.
yeah, I can still go in. I can go to an event and I can hold a conversation with just about anyone.
Yeah.
And it's because that's how I was raised. That's how I I was right on the cusp. Like I bought myself my first phone at 16,
Right.
and I bought one of those like track phones.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay.
Had to
So
figure
I'm
that one out.
44,
Okay.
and I was told my generation was the last generation to have a healthy balance between technology and social interaction. When it, after my generation, which would basically be you, maybe a little more, it started to lean a lot toward technology and less social time.
Yeah, I could see that because there were a couple kids that I knew growing up that were like, they had the phone, they had whatever the Xbox or whatever, they had all that stuff. And whereas like for me, it was like I bought my own phone because I had someone I wanted to text with. I was
woman?
like, yeah,
Oh, of
yeah,
course.
yeah. It's always a woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was like, and I was working. I needed a way for my boss to get in touch with me and
Right.
to chase this woman.
Was it a flip phone?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was like one of the early
Classic.
Motorola flip phones. It was a track
classics.
phone. It wasn't even like a real phone.
That pulls out?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's classic.
Pull out antenna. Oh yeah. And what did I do? I just, I bought the minutes, and when I was out of minutes, well, too
buy
bad.
more. Or
yeah,
you
I
bought
was,
more.
yeah, too bad, or I bought more, and
Yeah.
I made do, and
Yeah.
I actually like went out and hung out with people, and
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a shift eventually to where no matter what, that's going to happen.
yeah, oh
We're
yeah,
social beings to begin with, right?
For sure.
It's in our DNA. So 10 years of a cell phone is not going to change that. Sure,
No.
there's always going to be people that don't want to be interactive, but come on, man.
yeah,
You got to go out and, like today, I met a guy, shake his hand. He's like, oh, that's a hell of a handshake. I'm like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do.
yeah,
I'm not supposed to give you a fucking limp noodle,
right,
And I stared right at his eyes, shook his hand, was like, nice to meet you, buddy. And he's like, oh, well, hello.
yeah,
That's what you got. That's
Yeah.
the way I was brought. That's the way
Yeah.
I was raised. And,
Exactly.
yes, ma'am. No, sir. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Hold the door.
That's my biggest pet peeve is the people that are either A, too consumed with their phone, or B, too consumed with themselves to even bother
Everybody's
looking
so fucking
around.
consumed with themselves, dude.
It's true. It's true. But
What gets me with a door, and now I'm to the point, well, I'm past the point. I don't say anything anymore because
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't fucking matter, is when somebody's right in front of you, they're an arm's length in front of you, and they open the door just enough for them to get in.
Oh, yeah.
And they shut the door, and I'm like, that's all right, I got it, dude. You
Yeah.
fucking prick.
yeah, thanks. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I need a little extra arm workout today.
Yeah.
No.
But I don't know. I mean, could it be technology / parenting? Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't say anything because I don't have kids.
Exactly,
so
same.
I'm not a fucking expert.
Yep.
I don't have that experience, but I just see the technology like at the gym not too long ago.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
Oh,
Drives me nuts.
I do farmer carries with kettlebell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Single hand. And I do a fucking circle around the gym because what fun is it just to go back and forth in a
Right.
short thing? So I walk through equipment and stuff. And I come around this corner and I look down, and the way the gym is, there's machines on each side, full of dudes, all of them looking at their phone, sitting on the equipment. And I'm like, God, I can't say nothing. Nah, that's
Nope.
none of my business.
Yeah, and it's
You know?
just but I will say though is it's funny is that I know some people who are younger than I am that are actually out doing stuff and they're out hanging out with their friends. I'm like, those are the people that
That's amazing.
it is. It's it's great. It's like so it's people always say, oh, the millennials and oh, those young folk.
And I
And,
think that people, dude, every fucking
It's-
generation's got a
Exactly.
quote unquote millennial.
oh, exactly.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing. Everyone's the generation before yours was saying the same things about you. Oh, they're lazy. Oh, they're entitled. They say it about
absolutely.
everyone.
Yeah, yep. Now, I did hear, this is not my, I did hear this, and I thought it was brilliant. And I think it was Andy Frisell, I heard it on his podcast, was people coming into the workforce, they want, $100,000 right away. They only want to work 20 hours a week. I'm totally paraphrasing shit.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
but just trying to make a point. And the reason they think that way is because everything else in their life is instant. Push a button, Uber pulls up. Push a button, watch fucking Stranger Things. Push a button, everything is fucking instant. So why shouldn't my job be instant? Why shouldn't I have that right away? right? So you kind of got to look at it that way. You can't
Yeah.
say, well, you're fucking entitled. And they're like, what? They know whatever, right? So it's like, no, okay, you kind of got to reverse engineer that. Why are you thinking that way? It makes total sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. Is if you're used to it, it's an ingrained thing now. It's you get it as
Text
instantly.
message, boom.
Right.
Email, boom. And if I call you, you don't answer, I send you a text message. It's like, motherfucker, I have shit to do. Except answer your call.
Yeah, right.
You know? Then you wonder why or how before you got everything done with a dial-up phone. Shit still got done.
Yeah, before
then-
email, things got done before
Oh,
email.
absolutely. And I'm not knocking it. I love technology.
Oh,
Without technology,
certainly.
people wouldn't be listening to us right now.
Right.
Right? But I believe there has to be a healthy balance.
Oh, definitely.
And my family and I, we do, hey, when we're at a certain point, like Val and I, at night, okay, we both get home from work. All right, I got so much stuff to do. I got X amount of stuff to do. Okay, so we look at the time. In half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it may be, we're shutting everything down. I set an alarm on my phone, and it goes off, and I hit snooze. Finish up what you're doing. I'm going to finish up what I'm doing. No phone, no nothing. We pile on the couch. We hang out, put a puzzle together.
That's awesome.
Lay in bed, and I read a book. She reads a book, but we're hanging out. We're not like sitting here talking like you and I are.
Right.
But we're not sitting there stuck on a phone like in somebody else's world. Sure, I'm in another world because I'm reading a book, but it's a physical book, right? And her legs draped over mine. So it's like we're hanging out together.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if it's not like conversation constantly going, it's you're there,
doesn't need
you're
to be.
present.
Yeah,
exactly.
You have some of those friends that, and I could rattle off a handful of mine throughout the years. I could sit at a bar stool with a buddy of mine. We used to do a lot of ride motorcycle together. We could sit there for 4 hours on a bar stool, not say a fucking word, and just be good about it. Just be staring straight ahead, To me, you don't have to have conversation going all the fucking time.
Right.
It's like when you ride, like, what's your guys' procedure, you and your wife, when you have a long car ride?
Sometimes podcast or music, but yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like if we're going out to PA or something, it's generally silent.
Yeah.
It's
or you're
just,
listening to something together on the radio.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? Something on the radio, or we're talking, we're just having conversation.
Right.
Right. Let me tell you about that thing that happened. Right. And
Right.
Did I ever tell you about this thing that happened at work? This ridiculous thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just conversation like that, like continuing to learn more about each other.
Well, right. It stimulates your mind, right?
Exactly.
To actually have conversation. And that's that's kind of the reason, not kind of the reason, one of the reasons I started this. I love fucking having conversation. Dude, look how long we've been hanging out. I didn't know that shit about you growing up with the pheasant farm and like your thought process of, I'm going to do this to relieve the burden of my family. Dude, that's fucking amazing. Like, I know for sure there's thousands and millions of people that have done that too.
Yeah.
But to hear it and like hang out and to talk about it, right? Instead of you trying to text it to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and how do I convey that through text? It's like you can't.
Right.
You can't convey that through text.
I always think if it's more than 3 sentences on a text, I'm fucking calling you. Don't send me 3 pages of a text message. Seriously?
Yeah, and see, I just avoid. I don't like speaking on the phone, so I tend to avoid it.
So it's the other way around.
So I mean, I will call when it's right to call. Like if it's something that has to be a phone call, I'll call. But if I can get it through in text, because I'm always nervous, especially like with business related things, is if I say it wrong and make a mistake, and I'm like, oh, well, now I gotta walk that back, or how do I walk that back?
But like a text, you like
But a
proofread
text.
it and all that?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm one of those people that texts with proper punctuation, capitalization,
yeah.
paragraph breaks.
You're one of those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
You haven't noticed?
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. I just read it and like. So when we'll be driving down the road and a buddy of mine will text and my wife will be like, "I'll respond. What do you want to say?" And she's like, "Oh, I can't put punctuation and stuff because they'll know it's not you." I'm a data dumper.
Yeah.
You get the point, dude.
There was one time we were in the car, Eric and I. We were going to a client meeting, and he was having a he had like Heather had texted him something, and he's like, "Oh, can you respond? Like, I'll tell you what to type. Just type it out." And so I typed it out, and he's like, "Can I see it real quick?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, just at the end of that, put this is Clayton, by the way, typing for Eric," because he just data dumped, just bang it out, no caps, no punctuation. I just out of habit typed everything with punctuation, everything.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, you need to put that on there, otherwise she'll be like, who's texting?"
Yeah, well, I get that a lot too, and that's where Val will start. Hey, this is Val, and she'll type it out. Because in the past they're like, who's this? This is not Walt. Who the fuck's typing this? He actually spelled something right.
There you go. Yeah.
You know? But like having a whole message of acronyms, that's a little too much for me.
Oh yeah, the
I'll actually
acronyms
type
drive
out the
me.
words.
Yeah, for the most part, I type out the words.
Yep. So what are you watching now, dude? Movie wise, or like TV show? You don't have like a go-to. You and the wife don't pile
not
and watch
really.
a go-to?
I mean, we haven't made it through Stranger Things yet. We've got a couple episodes into the third season.
Oh, okay.
Like we watched the first one full through when that came
Second
out.
one.
Watched the second one all the way through when it came out. We've just been busy, like just life. Between we went to going to soccer games, going to stuff like that.
Oh, you're a big soccer player, huh?
Yeah. Play every Thursday and watch every Saturday, every Sunday that I can get a chance.
Very nice. Yeah. TV show though, Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Yeah. Best show out there, period. And anybody wants to argue with me, bring it on.
I'll have to check it out.
It's got
and then
everything.
argue with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's got fucking everything in it. Just in a cow. It's a gangster. It's somebody's like, I'm not really, because it's a ranch in Wyoming. No, Montana. And it's all political with Indian tribe and the locals, and another business developer comes in from out of town. It's all that kind of shit. And somebody's like, I'm not a big Western fan. I go, dude, it's a fucking gangster movie. Seriously? You think that's a Western? Shit, that's a gangster movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love gangster movies. So I feel right into that.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming down, dude.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for inviting me over.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go take your money playing cards.
Yeah. They haven't the last couple times. I've done well.
But the thing is, though, so Sharon was over here a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Her fucking story, dude. Wait to hear that.
I can't wait to hear that one.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
I'm curious. I saw the photo and I'm like, what
Holy
does this have
shit.
to do with anything?
Did you see Tommy and Don's remarks?
No, I don't think I did.
Because I was like, I knew Sharon had stories or something like that, and Tommy was like, yeah, Barry, I knew he made some comment about she has secrets or something, and Don was like, she did, meaning she spilled them all on the podcast.
There you go. Yeah.
But that fucking story, I can't give it away. So it'll be
I
out
can't wait.
by this one comes out.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then Gentleman, again, it'll be out before this episode. What he talked about it fucking blew my mind. Because I was introduced to him via email. And we hit it off email. Super nice guy. And he'll definitely be back on because he's got a ton of shit to talk about. And then I had no idea what we were going to talk about.
Right.
I didn't even know the guy, And,
Right.
And that's what I love, just come sit down, And there's been a couple other people that reached out to me and were like, hey, I want to come down. I'm like, all right, come on down. And I'm just as surprised as people listening, And this guy threw the story out, and I was like, holy shit. It was crazy, dude. Wait, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I'm like always checking. I'm like, okay, when's it coming out?
Every 2
coming
weeks.
Out? Every 2 weeks.
Every
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And I'm dying because I listen to like all of them in a row, and I re-listen to them, and I'm
Oh,
like,
nice,
gotta
dude.
listen
I
to it
appreciate the
again.
support, dude.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks. I like a fucking crazy variety. And that's the other reason with the format that I have, there's no ceiling.
Right.
We can talk about anything you want. We could have sat down and talked about who knows what, right? But I did want to get the history of the punk stuff.
Yeah.
Because like when we play cards over at Pam's, you guys always talk about punk stuff, and I'm like, man, I wonder how the fuck he got in there.
Oh, yeah,
That just interests me, So that was cool. And then the thing about your family again, man, that was super cool, dude. Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it made me who I am.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah.
I'm confident to go into any situation, take
the
charge of
fucking
that.
door in, dude.
Yep, take
That's what I would say.
control what I can, and plow through.
Yeah, good for you, man. Well, thanks, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
Boom. Another one in the books. Time with Clayton is time well spent. Do you agree? Of course you do. You guys, I'm always looking for guests to come on. Everybody's got a story, even though you tell yourself you don't. And if you want to come on, tell that story or just bullshit with me, I'm a big fan of that. Love good conversation. And best place to reach me is Instagram, WKT Podcast. My website, waltzkitchentable.com. I built that myself. And now on YouTube. Jump on Walt's Kitchen Table on YouTube. And again, under my smiling face, there is a big bold letters that say subscribe. Push that. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And again, as always, support those who support us. LiveRishi.com. Awesome products. Been using them for years. Would never talk about or push anything that I don't use and trust myself. So jump on there. LiveRishi.com. Use the code TABLE and be pleasantly surprised on what the hookup is on that. So again, thanks for listening. Much love.